wonder of the world, basically a geek show. And here are your hosts, Mike and Jack.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 48 of Basically a Geek Show. My name's Mike. With me, as always, is Jack.
What's up?
And we've got a treat for you guys. The North American premiere of Transformers Robots in Disguise does not take place until the week of the 9th of March.
But because we are clever individuals, we have for you a review of the first episode of Robots in Disguise.
Indeed. A lot of talk about what the series is going to be like. You know, it was going to be, lighthearted or, not as dark as Prime could be sometimes. So, let's just jump right in. There's a lot to tackle right off the bat. So, I'm going to just start with some basic stuff. We're going to start with the aesthetics and we're going to move our way towards the story. Jack, what did you think of Optimus Prime's new form?
Well, it certainly wasn't what I had expected. It's a bit of a departure from the norm in the sense that it's a fire truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, I don't know, I could get used to it. I mean, contrary to what we had thought initially, he's at least alive.
Yeah, he is alive. He is alive, yeah.
And I was happy to see that, they did take away some of the gravitas from Prime. And, Prime in this episode, he had a bit of that G1 snarkiness to him, which I really liked. So, definitely a step in the right direction in that sense.
That's something that a lot of, the more recent Transformers iterations, especially those that are doing a Peter Cullen Prime, they seem to miss out. The G1 Optimus had a bit of a snarky side to him. And, nobody seems to really pick up on that. The closest we get is Michael Bay, and Michael Bay's Prime isn't even snarky, he's just kind of murder happy.
He's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, crazy works. I mean, crazy's fine. I'm certainly of all people not going to, discredit the merits of craziness. But, yeah, you can only hear give me your face so many times before it starts to get a little bit old. And, there's a medium ground. There's a medium ground between sociopath and,
I'm just here to spout trailer lines.
Yeah, and Captain Serious. So, there's that. But no, I did like it. The overall aesthetic had a lot more of an anime feel to it, than most of the other, Transformers series that we've seen. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I could get used to it, I suppose. It could be a lot worse. I mean, at least it's not some, 3D cel-shaded shite.
Or animated.
True, or animated, yes. I mean, there's that.
There is that. Now, I know this has been, it's been talked about among the fandom. It's definitely something that people had noticed seeing the promotional stills for the show going in. What did you think of the animal theme that they decided to give the villains?
It's a bit too, well, I don't like Beast Wars. I've made no, I've never hidden that fact. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. But at least it's just with the bad guys. And, I don't know, the way they did it, what with Megatron being all purpley and shit, and that opening, that scene where he kind of shows himself and he comes down as this giant fucking hand out of the sky.
And smashes through the building.
Yeah, though I would have really loved it if he had just come down as a hand flipping the bird. Fuck you all! I noticed Megatron has kind of, narrowed his sights a little bit. He's usually about universal conquest, and now he's just mentioning the galaxy. So maybe he's kind of reevaluated, his goals in life.
No, it's been 30 years, man. And, after 30 years of not conquering the universe, it's maybe just time to, to take a step back.
You gotta crawl before you can walk.
Exactly.
It's about perspective, really. And he seems to have gotten some perspective, and that's a good thing.
A bit of a departure from the kind of G1 movie look from Prime, though. I mean, now the purple dragon thing. I mean, but then again, I guess Megatron's thing is unlike Prime, Megatron has never really been the same thing. I mean, he's always kind of changed it up. So I guess they just decide, you know what? Let's double down on changing it up. And purple two-headed dragon, why not?
Yeah, well, I mean, Megatron has always been kind of this blank slate. I mean, he's been reinvented for almost every series. Even in the movies, he was reinvented like 2 or 3 fucking times. Just from movie to movie, so,
I blame G1 for that because, the G1 toy was a gun, and they couldn't do that after G1, after all those safety standards came in. So it became a thing where Optimus could be his G1 alt mode, every time after G1, whereas, Megatron, from G2, you started the tradition of, well, we gotta change Megatron for this series.
Until environmental regulations get out of control and 18-wheelers are outlawed.
Oh man, what did you think of Optimus's flying fist gun?
That was pretty cool. I mean, more issues could be resolved with a flying fist gun. And I personally wish that I had one, but
Indeed. Now, this episode I thought was a lot of fun. I have to admit, going in, I was a bit tentative about Hasbro's declarations. This was going to be lighter than this was going to be lighter than Prime. It was going to be more lighthearted, more fun. I was a bit nervous about that. We get in. It's actually a pretty fun time. I thought the overall experience was, but God, I don't know what's going on in that writing room, but they need to find a better way to deliver their exposition.
They do. Well, I mean, it's your standard anime kind of a thing, which again, this is very different from what we were shown that we would be getting with this series.
Indeed, yes.
But not in a bad way. I mean, this is, if anything, is an improvement over the robots in disguise that we've been exposed to in the recent trailers.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it has this very anime-esque style and theme to it, and with that comes barrels upon barrels full of expository monologuing.
I have to give them credit though. They said, we're gonna go for an anime visual style, but then they replicated the genre down to the clunky exposition. And maybe there's something to be said. Well, you adapted the genre's, least desirable elements, but if that's what the feel they were going for, then I gotta give them credit for sticking to their vision.
It's a ballsy thing to be sure. But I think it kind of works. It kind of makes it a little bit more fun, I guess.
Tongue in cheek, yeah.
Yeah, I guess in the cheesy, campy anime kind of way. Which I know some people are like, oh my god, he referred to anime as cheesy and campy. And yeah, a lot of it is. In fact, most of it I've watched is. But yeah, that's kind of its appeal, kind of like the way, it's kind of the same appeal of Godzilla movies. I mean, you drop a couple nukes on someone and they get a little bit woo, wonky. And,
if another country if another country is ever nuked, by the way, I think we need to set up that experiment. If another country is ever nuked, we have to wait 40, 50 years, 30, 40, 50 years to see if they start developing tentacle porn and really out there animated movies.
That works. Yeah, that works. Well, they're actually building a hotel in I think it's Nagasaki. That is entirely staffed by robots.
Of course, because it's Japan.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe they're like, well, just in case, we won't have any staff on site.
Speaking of Japan, there's a scene in this, the main character is obviously Japanese, and which is a bold for an American show, to have the protagonist not be an American, it's Japanese protagonist. And again, I realize they're kind of going for that Japanese feel, but for something that's produced by an American company, it's still nice to see. But in the opening in Japan, where like Optimus Prime, reveals that he's a robot to like the fireman, he took it remarkably well. But I thought about that, like it's Japan. I just assume that like if you drive a construction vehicle or a fire truck or a police car in Japan, and it turns into a robot, it's like, I have a mission to go off on. You're just like, that's just like part of life there,
The one thing, and this error like really bugged me.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, so the kid gets inside of Optimus Prime. Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, that was so fucking freaky, by the way, when Optimus Prime is going, it's like, when he's like, Kenji, I need you to come meet me. How do you know my name? And I expected Optimus to be like, I watch you pee.
Yeah. I'm staring at you while you poop. But yeah, so he's saying this kid, we've got to we got to take care of such and such emergency, whatever the hell it was. And he's like, but we can't drive across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Wait, you're in Japan.
Going to the United States, yeah.
It's the Pacific.
Yeah.
So evidently the Japanese school system is not everything that we've been led to believe.
It has failed that young man.
It totally has, and yeah.
Yeah. Now, I will have to say, interesting choice. The promos leading up kind of had me believe that the father-son human duel that was going to be featured in this series was going to be the father was going to run a salvage shop, but now apparently he's like an archaeologist and some like energy expert. I don't know at what point in the process they decided to change routes, but I kind of like it. Gives it more of a sci-fi feel because you got to give stakes, and Megatron's not going to be kidnapping the guy from
Sanford and Son, right? Exactly. Yeah. Lamont, you big dummy. Fucking giant robot shows up at the junkyard. I'm coming to join you, Elizabeth.
Now, what did you think about the Autobots that we got, like, aside from Optimus?
Where was Bumblebee?
I'm assuming they're saving him for later on, like maybe a mid-season reveal.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to bitch if they don't.
Uh-huh.
Because, I mean, if Transformers needed anything, it was less Bumblebee.
Indeed, yes.
And, God damn it, we got through an entire episode, and not one sign of the yellow stain to be found.
Indeed.
So, fuck, I'm down. I mean,
I assume they're gonna leave him for like some kind of mid season, maybe even season finale reveal. That kind of just like they seem to think highly of Bumblebee for some reason, so I'm expecting they're just saving him for like this big reveal, and they think people are gonna freak out when they see him.
Oh my god, it's Bumblebee! It's Bumblebee!
Now, I guess another thing, the new theme song's really interesting. It's got very techno, very kind of throwbacky in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like this throwback to like the late 90s, early 2000s. It works. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not Stan Bush. I mean, you're not going to get. I mean, you're not going to get that level of awesome in your Transformers team without Stan Bush. Which, I mean, for like, basically, from what I understand, getting Stan Bush to do something for you is like adopting one of those African babies that they show on TV. I mean, it's like pennies a day. You can have Stan Bush do your theme song. You got people on YouTube using them for fuck's sake.
God,
like with custom intros and everything. Hi, I'm Stan Bush, and this is so-and-so's reviews. Come on. Hire Stan Bush.
He needs the work.
He needs your help, guys. I mean, his payday advance is behind. He needs your fucking help. Come on, hire Stan Bush. Hi, I'm Stan Bush, and when they're about to turn my lights off, I go to Easy Payday Advance. It's downtown, right next to the liquor store. You know, fucking...
Did you ever see that, remake of The Touch that he did, which was like a Linkin Park rap version?
I think I've heard it, but I think also that my mind kind of blocked it out.
It was right around the time of it was either the first or second live action movie where, you know, Linkin Park, was doing the official theme songs for those movies. And so Stan Bush was like, well, I'll get them to use The Touch by redoing The Touch to sound like Linkin Park. And it was like Stan Bush and then some random guy who I assume he met on the street who in between verses would just start rapping.
Yeah, no, my mind kind of blocked that out. I always thought like Linkin Park was kind of a shit choice for those movies anyways. I mean, way to strike while the iron's hot, guys. I mean, Linkin Park wasn't even really a thing hardly in the mid to late 2000s. And
it was more of a early 2000s kind of thing.
It's, yeah, more like a late 90s, early 2000s kind of a deal as far as I recall. I mean, yeah. I was never really big into them because I don't cut myself.
I was really into Linkin Park in high school, I'm not gonna lie.
Now, they did have a couple of songs that I really liked, depending on my mood that day. If I was in one of my emo modes, then yeah, they were a fairly decent go-to. And then I remembered George Strait, and I'm like, oh, well, what do I need these guys for? So, yeah, back to what works.
Did you ever hear the, Linkin Park? Linkin Park did a cover of the Transformers theme for the first movie.
I don't remember their cover. I remember this really just ass cover.
That was theirs.
No, it was done by this band called Mute Math.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I remember that.
And
that one was bad.
That was just, oh my God. I'd rather listen to my cat take a shit for 3 minutes. Or however long that fucking song. It was just the most god-awful thing. Mm-hmm. I would have rather have heard a rap version. And
no, Transformers Cybertron's got you covered on that one.
Right, yeah, no, yeah.
Autobots, Decepticons!
Right, but I mean, that was just the most god-awful thing that I don't even know what the fuck. It was clearly, it really had this filler material, because they didn't even, to my knowledge, it had no placement in the actual movie itself. I think they might have used it.
It wasn't on the movie, but it was on the movie's official soundtrack CD.
Right, I think they might have played it during the end credits, but like after 2 or 3 other songs. And it was just like really buried down there where they were like talking about, you know, where the credits are scrolling across the screen for the guy who like scoops Michael Bay's cat's litter box. And, you know, then they were playing that song, which, you know, would fit. But that was just, oh God, that was just auditory rape. Fucking horrible. But yeah, I mean, the intro to, Robots in Disguise, which after seeing this, I'll stop calling, I won't call this series R.I. Derp. This is better. This is much better than what I thought we were getting going into it. This is what Robots in Disguise should be, as far as I was concerned, because they really played up the whole quote-unquote disguise aspect. I'm Optimus Prime, and I'm a fire truck, and I watch little boys take a poop. I never said it was perfect.
He knew way too much about that kid's personal life.
He really fucking did. And like I said, I mean, nothing's perfect. I mean, this show does have faults. The anime standpoint, I can see people either going for it or not going for it. It's one of those love-hate kind of a deal. It's just really actually like anime is, so.
I kind of like the animated stylings. I actually much prefer it to the animated style that Transformers Animated did.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I don't hate the Prime style as much as animated, but I'm not particularly fond of it either. So I take this over over Prime, and I'm kind of happy that they scaled down on some of the more stylized images from the early RID, promotional work.
Yeah, this just looks like they were just trying to animate good robots. It doesn't look like they were going for any kind of particular super aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Back to basics, but did it well.
Right. There weren't any like visual gimmicks with the animation. And I think that's the term that we've seen so much of, in these, last few, starting with animated and then Prime. They all had like visual gimmicks with the animation, just very clear calling cards where I don't know, And
it seemed like they were going to do that with RID too. Like, some of the like they had Sideswipe, who had that stupid robot hair. Right?
Yeah, was Sideswipe even in this one?
I don't think so. It kind of looks, everything I remember about what they said his character would be, it looks like they kind of just like folded into this new character Sideburn.
Right, that's what I thought too, but I wanted to make sure.
No, I don't think he was in it. No, he wasn't.
Yeah, which, I mean, again, not complaining. One of our major concerns with what we had called IR derp being addressed with this. So, I mean, on the whole, I would say it was very watchable. I look forward to seeing more of it, honestly.
Indeed. What else I liked?
What?
You know what else I liked, though?
What?
In Transformers Prime, they made big use of the space bridge, or ground bridge system to travel the planet, and they seem to have brought it back. Granted, it's a different visual style here, but the concept is returning, which I do like the concept that they're trying to keep up some continuity between the two series.
Yeah, and that's good, because I could see where there's such a visual departure and such a departure with the style of the writing between Prime and Robots in Disguise that some people might be like, yeah, this isn't what I like. But hey, they did throw you a couple bones. You've got you've got the space bridge in there, so that's still a thing, right? Space bridge. You got your space bridge there, guy.
Indeed, and I was also wondering if they're ever going to get around to tying, Megatron's resurgence in this show in with Predaking somehow, because now Megatron is calling his group of guys Predacons, and we know that Predacons from the end of Prime there. So, has Megatron recruited some Predacons? What happened to Predaking? He seems to have augmented his body with Predacon technology in some way.
Well, that, and also what the fuck happened with Megatron, because he had gone good guy.
Indeed. Yeah, he did.
So I guess maybe they'll be explaining that later on. The only thing I can think of, maybe Megatron's whole, I'm a good guy now, for real, Joe, thing was just, another ruse for Megatron. Go figure. And maybe he found Predaking, jumped him in an alley.
And wore his body.
Yeah, and helped himself to whatever fucking body parts he wanted, because, hey, robots can do that shit.
I'm gonna mold your dragon head to my foot.
Yeah, but I mean, when a robot does it, it's not that creepy. I mean, if a person does it, well, you're going to be on a few watch lists. But, for them, it's like, I'm going to swap this out. That's cool, But, yeah, I would like to see that explained. I hope that they do at some point. Because
my question is, if Megatron is now leading Predacons, or the Decepticons, we're the Decepticons, and what role are they gonna play in all of this?
That would actually also be another good thing for late season.
It would, yeah.
They seem to have, there's enough tie-ins here to kind of keep you guessing. To be like, okay, well, what are they going to do later? I would like to see Starscream actually leading the Decepticons, and then have them fight the Predacons and the Autobots, and have this three-way just robo orgy of, yes, I did say a three-way robo orgy on the show, a three-way robo orgy of just parts flying and brrr and kill you and pew 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 and brrr, and then Optimus Prime just watching some 8-year-old take a shit. Because watch lists again, and I'm pretty sure that even if you are a robot, that will get you on a watch list.
And I again, just coming back to that, it's just so creepy. Optimus Prime's going like, Kenji, you need to come with me. I don't know who you are. I'll explain after you come with me.
Oh, God. Oh, that's the kind of joke I usually make, sir.
Yeah, well, they just served it right up. I mean, I can't ignore it. They just, it was right there.
Oh, jeez. I'll never hear the words transform and roll out the same way again. Jesus.
Everyone stay here. I've got my private time to attend to.
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, wow. So, I mean, going forward with this, I mean, pretty much we've gone over without, for once we're not, well, we went a little bit into the spoiler territory, I suppose. But, what would you like to see out of this going forward?
Well, Megatron said that he's after Earth's energy in this, which to some Transformers fans might seem old hat, but at least as far as I know, Megatron never had a harvesting energy objective in Prime. And if this is in continuity of Prime and all the information that they, released before the show said that it was, then this is new for Megatron within this continuity. So I'm fine with him looking for energy. I guess I just want to make sure that they're smart about it and they just don't get overly preachy with it, with environmentalism. So I guess that's one concern I have going forward. In terms of plot, again, I'd like to see them explain how Megatron came to lead the Predacons. What happened to Predaking? What happened to the Decepticons? Who's leading the Decepticons? I'd also like to see Ultra Magnus show up. I mean, they had Michael Ironside, for God's sakes, doing his voice in Prime. And, if they could get him back, maybe a few episodes here or there as the series goes on, as Ultra Magnus, I'd really enjoy that. I'd also really enjoy it if they would show us what happened to Knockout, because that guy deserves to be, I think Knockout in this kind of anime-styled show would be amazing.
He'd be something alright. I mean, this particular style does lend itself, very readily to Knockout's type of character. Oh, Jesus.
What about yourself, sir?
Well, I'm pretty much there with you on that. Like I said, I would like to see what happened to the Decepticons. Ideally, I'd like to see Starscream finally getting, another moment in the sun with the Decepticons. Maybe even bring back the crown for a bit.
Starscream is never allowed to be in charge. He is, however, allowed to think he's in charge.
Yeah, pretty much. But, have Starscream leading the Decepticons, have, him, try to wipe out the Predacons because he's all like, power! And shit.
By the way, just a quick aside, I'm still a fan of your theory, by the way, for how they should have gone about, season 3 of G1, which was to have Starscream survive the movie, and have Starscream leading the Decepticons and Rodimus Prime leading the Autobots in season 3.
Yeah, Transformers, bottom of the barrel.
Indeed, yeah.
Now, was it me or did the voice in this cartoon for Prime, did it not sound like Peter Cullen much?
No, it didn't sound like Peter Cullen at all.
It sounded kind of like me with a sore throat.
Yeah. Best I can figure, and this isn't the first time this has happened. I know David Kaye, the guy who did the voice of Megatron and Cybertron, was actually absent for the first episode of that show. That sometimes, the recording schedules and personal schedules just don't line up. I know Peter Cullen is a very sought-after person for conventions and appearances. It could just be one of those things where, the recording, they had to get the recording for the pilot episode done by a certain time, and he couldn't make it, so they threw some, schlub, some, probably intern who was getting coffee or something. And it doesn't matter, it's the first episode, it's the pilot. We've got Peter scheduled when we begin recording for the full series, so that's what I think it was. Again, this kind of thing has happened before, so.
I don't know, man. Okay, Peter Cullen, not recording the actual TV show in favor of going to a convention?
I don't know.
Maybe he's just having a bad day. I don't know. To me, at least, it didn't sound like him.
Maybe he's having a crisis, an identity crisis that we're just not privy to, and they haven't released it yet, so they had to quickly recast the role. Maybe Peter Cullen is just finally tired of saying the line, "My name is Optimus Prime."
Yeah, really. I mean, after 30 years, I think I would be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he gets less tired when he sees the paychecks.
I remember when he was, I remember a line that he did in the episode, in the series, in the Prime series, Transformers Prime, where he said, at the end of this day, one of us shall stand and one of us shall fall, but like, it lacked all energy. It was still the Optimus Prime voice, but it just had no energy behind it, and you could tell, oh god, this is like the 50th time Peter Cullen has had to say that line.
Oh, well, not to mention all the times at the conventions he's probably been asked to say it by people.
It's actually kind of funny. I've never actually been to a convention where Peter Cullen was present, but I do remember hearing a story about a convention where someone asked him to do voices, but it wasn't Optimus Prime. It was, they wanted him to do Eeyore and Ironhide having an argument.
That's awesome.
I'm like, you know what? For a Peter Cullen request, that's pretty cool, because I bet you he doesn't get that one often.
That would be awesome. I mean, I don't know. I would probably go cliche and ask him to do the one shall stand, one shall fall line for like, I don't know, a phone ringtone or a voicemail greeting.
And then you'd squee like a little girl.
Like a bitch, sir. Like a bitch.
So I think that's gonna wrap up. Did we miss anything? I mean, this was it was a very fast episode. A lot of stuff happened, quick succession. And in a lot of ways, that kind of added to the fun nature of it. It's just something you can pop on, you can watch. It'll take 22 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it drags.
I'll agree with you on that for the most part. It did go by pretty quick. It was a lot better than I thought it would be, honestly.
Yeah.
I did actually, like I said, it wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but it certainly was not, yeah. Well, this would explain, things, I suppose.
Okay.
Evidently what we watched was, Robots in Disguise from 2001.
Son of a bitch!
Well, that explains why it's better, doesn't it?
So, spoilers?
Spoilers for 2001! Robots in Disguise is better than fucking IR Derp. Suck it! I knew it was too good to be true for it to be on YouTube. Our secret connections betrayed us. Bastards.
You know, that's how fucking B-League we are when we consider YouTube our secret underground access to media.
Dude, we're not even B-League. We're F'd in the A-League. Yeah, no, what we reviewed was Robots in Disguise from 2001, just because, to be fair, we did try to find the actual,
we heard that it came out in the UK, and thus there's an English version available somewhere. It was just not popping up.
No, we did try to find it through multiple means, of which.
Although again, I maintain the British should have just redubbed it in English, but everyone would have had a British accent.
I would watch that. I would watch that in a heartbeat. I would probably prefer that, because at least it would be stupid shit happening with sophisticated accents. Except Bumblebee, right, he would get the Cockney accent.
Governor?
Yeah, no,
Fine
totally.
Fog it is, Governor!
Oh, God. So yeah, then, basically what happened was we couldn't find it, we seen this, we're like, you know what?
Let's have fun.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Though, in retrospect, we should have saved that for the April Fool's Day episode.
Yeah, but then, episode 1 wouldn't have been out April Fool. I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. So April Fool's 3 weeks early. What the hell ever.
All right.
So yes, there you go. Robots in Disguise, 2001 review.
14 years late.
14 years late. Apologies to the spoilers sensitive out there. I still maintain it. Pretty much everything we said about it, though, holds true as to how we view it versus what we've been promised. So, there you go.
Say what you will. I'll take cheesy anime over try-hard, rescue bot, overly produced nonsense. I kind of lost my train of thought there, but the sentiment is still valid, damn it. Alright, so, let's move on to, some World of Warcraft news. With the release of 6.1, the first major cinematic of the legendary quest chain was made available.
It was.
And, of course, it was put out there. People are like, don't watch it if you want to enjoy it firsthand. I'm like, I'm not waiting that long to do Khadgar's bitch work, so watch.
Yeah, really.
But very interesting setup here. I don't know if this was a change in the story that Blizzard made. I'm not entirely sure on the developmental cycle of these things. Like, I know to get an expansion launched is a process about a year and a half, maybe, in terms of developmental work. But I don't know if changes to the ongoing story once that expansion is launched can be made quicker. And the reason I say this is because that I know back in Wrath of the Lich King, at the Wrathgate, Bolvar dies in that cinematic, but then Bolvar comes back at Icecrown Citadel, and then, becomes the new Lich King after Arthas is defeated. Well, the reason why that wasn't the original plan, Metzen has admitted that when they killed Bolvar at the Wrathgate, they weren't sure if they were going to do anything else with him, but fan response was so positive about wanting to see Bolvar back that they decided to then work him into the end of the expansion. So I get the feeling that, there's a lot of wiggle room in terms of what the story can be after the initial work has been done to launch the expansion. So I say all of this because the gist that I got from this Legendary Quest cinematic was that Blizzard, through the persona of Gul'dan, is admitting what the players have known since Warlords of Draenor launched, which is that the Iron Horde are a bunch of fucking scrub lords who are terrible.
They're all dead. They're all fucking dead. And you're an idiot.
That's basically what he said.
Now drink the demon herpes blood.
I love that, because he's so condescending. Like, it starts with Gul'dan showing up at, what has to be the last Iron Horde outpost at this point.
Yeah. Which is probably more like an outhouse.
Between the Legendary Quest line, the Garrison Quest line, and just doing the dungeons and raids, we're not even, even before 6.1 launched, we've already killed Blackhand, Kargath, and Ner'zhul. So that just left Kilrogg and, Garrosh in terms of the Iron Horde. And Gul'dan shows up, and he's going to, Garrosh, he's like, "You promised conquest, Garrosh!"
And now your massive army can fit into a changing room at the Gap.
And Garrosh is like, "My soldiers died with honor." Yeah, that's what you tell yourself after you get your ass handed to you.
Indeed. Yeah.
In fact, I actually love that at the end of the, not the Legendary Quest chain, it's the end of the Garrison Quest chain, that ends just before 6.0 was released, where you and Urel, and I'm sure you're with Thrall or Duratan if you're a Horde player. I haven't done it on Horde because Alliance. I enjoy my indoor plumbing also. The Alliance, so you're there with Urel, you got the entire Alliance army with you. And there's like Garrosh and like 5 guys on the other side, and Urel's like, "We've beaten you, Garrosh! Surrender now!" And Garrosh's response is pretty much, No! Your face sucks!
Yeah.
So, I like this because whether Blizzard always intended for the Iron Hordes to really not be a big a threat as they promoted them to be, or whether they are kind of reacting to the fact that the Iron Horde story didn't quite play out the way that they had anticipated it would, for whatever reason, they seem to be acknowledging it. And the 2 separate antagonist storylines that have been going throughout 6.0, that being of Gul'dan and the Shadow Council, and then Garrosh, Grom, and the Iron Horde, they've sort of coincided now. It looks like Gul'dan is seizing control of the Iron Horde now, and through Kilrog Deadeye, who was like, of all the Orc warlords, he was like a C-list player?
Yeah.
But he gets to be the guy because everyone else is dead?
Yeah. He's the Admiral Durnitz of the Iron Horde.
Our beloved war chief, Grom Hellscream, has died. You have been named as his replacement.
Can I get a Heil Deadeye?
Just to say I had one?
Yeah. Sums up our military situation in one rude word, and here's King Rain's phone number.
And here's the common to say we give up.
Yeah.
We do kind of need someone to say that we've done that. But yeah, so Kilrog Deadeye, by virtue of being the one least important enough to murder through 6.0,
the
gets
Gilbert
to be
principle
the guy
in action.
Who finally drinks the demon Kool-Aid. And I don't know what Gul'dan did to it, but now it's like, he must have put some PCP in it now.
Yeah, because like, okay,
It used to just turn him brown. I just used
green,
to
yeah.
turn him green.
Now it makes them all fucking, like,
Spiky.
Yeah. It kind of gives them the, Illidan treatment a little bit.
Yeah, with like the markings on the body.
Right, which, I mean, I guess does kind of make sense because, you know.
It's all Burning Legion, right?
Right. And so, I mean, you know, why did the orcs just turn green when Illidan got all gray and green markings and glowy and spiky and demon?
I think in the original timeline, like, they just got like a regular dose of the demon blood, but in this timeline, since Gul'dan's plan was interrupted by time-traveling Garrosh, like, when he finally gets them to drink it, he's gonna have, like, spiked that shit.
Well, you know, they did that in a Godzilla movie.
Did they?
Yes. Because, like, these time travelers, they come back from the future, and they're all like, yeah, we're gonna make it so Godzilla never happens, and we can, like, take over the world. But Godzilla still happens, because our world is so polluted with the radiation. Except he got modern radiation. And that made him like all super badass PCP Roidzilla. And they're all like, oh no, we're fucked! And Godzilla was like, aw yeah, son. And that was actual dialogue from the movie. But yeah, no, that's totally the way it fucking happened. And so yeah, maybe that's what happened here. It was like, you know, the orcs got exposed to the radiation from a Soviet sub. I mean, better blood.
I do love how he came to the compound with a cup of the demon blood ready. He is just really trying to get anyone who will listen to drink the Kool-Aid.
I like to think that he just, like, on his way there, like, to that compound, he just kind of, like, wandered around in random villages holding that cup of blood. You want to drink the blood? No!
Want to drink the demon Kool-Aid?
Fucking, orc sitting in an outhouse, Gul'dan's hand reaches to the moon in the door. You want to drink the blood? Jesus Christ, man! You know. You want to drink it while you're pooping? Like, I'm trying to wipe here. Fucking, his hand comes through the window while two orcs are trying to fuck. You want to drink the Kool-Aid? It'll make your wiener bigger. Your wiener is now that with the burning legion. Oh shit, the clap.
The burning legion is the clap on the genitals of the universe. But it is interesting because, okay, as you listeners might have been able to tell, neither Jack or I have been all that enamored with the story of the Iron Horde up till this point.
It seemed really cool, but it's really lacked on follow through. Like,
which I think it's funny because from like a sort of meta character perspective, Gul'dan has every right to be condescending to Grom here, because in the original timeline where they did drink the blood and they formed the original Horde, that Horde managed to conquer some shit, whereas Grom's Iron Horde hasn't done jack all.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought was kind of like, oh, more of this shit? Because Gul'dan's like, this will be my Horde. Really? We're changing ownership again?
And and he said, I'm going to form a new Horde.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Which
is interesting because we keep getting new Hordes.
Yeah, how many fucking Hordes do we need? I mean, and I'm saying Hordes, not whores. I mean, the answer to that question is all of them. But, how many Hordes do we fucking need? You got fucking, Grommash up there all fucking chained to the wall with the frail chains, and they're all green and they're all glowing, and he's all like, you won't get away with this, kind of a thing.
I liked it when he was like, I will enjoy breaking you. And I'm like, oh. So Gul'dan likes that, does he?
Yeah, again, Medson's fantasies leaking into the game.
Now imagine Gul'dan in nothing but a leather thong with like a bird mask on and like a whip.
Thank you for making me and both of our viewers throw open their mouths. Thank you so much for that, or listeners, what have you. But yes, thank you.
I also like Grom being reminded that Garrosh is dead.
Well, he acted as though he didn't even know that,
Garrosh is dead.
Yeah, he just looked kind of a, Garrosh, Grommash, I'm getting, blah, blah, blah.
Orcs need to get better names.
Right, exactly. But, I mean, he's acting like he really doesn't even know, that Garrosh is dead. So it's kind of like, Gul'dan's like, and your son died too. What did he die for? And Grom's like, no! And so, that
Which is disappointing, because I was holding out hope that they'd have a dynamic where, Garrosh was always trying to reach out to Grom to, deal with his latent daddy issues, and Grom just, wasn't having any of it. Was kind of hoping that they'd have this dynamic where Garrosh was always trying to reach out to Grom to deal with his daddy issues, and Grom was just being a jerkwad to him.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, I love you! Your mother should have swallowed you!
Yeah, that's about right.
But instead, he actually cares. That's less amusing to me.
Which is kind of funny because it's like, alright, so, you just fucking, met the guy. For all you know, he's not even your real son. Well, I guess he did have Gorehowl, but I guess that was his legitimization there, that he had Gorehowl.
That and orcs have shamans and crap who are in tune with ancestors, so they could have probably used spiritual mumbo jumbo to confirm it.
It's kind of like a records check at the courthouse.
Yeah, I don't see any DNA testing labs on Draenor.
Well, they don't even have plumbing, so they're not going to have, DNA testing yet, I don't think. In spite of Gul'dan slinging, fucking fell DNA all over the fucking place. You want to drink the Kool-Aid? No! No, I don't! And I don't think you should be either. Unlimited power! You're scaring me.
Yeah, again, in the original timeline, I'm not sure how anyone was fooled by that. This guy looks above board!
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, man. But, I'm really going to be struggling going forward because, at least in terms of the lore now, we've reached the point by which Blackhand is dead. And Blackhand's my guy. He's my guy. I just don't know. What am I to be invested in now that Blackhand's dead? Kilrog Deadeye, who is now, getting mainline treatment just because he managed to survive the Iron Horde starting lineup massacre?
Well, I mean, it's more than any of the others managed to do, so, hey, why not?
Yeah. And I guess there is something to be said for, using the opportunity to give him more of a character.
They won't come for me. They don't think I'm worth it. I'll show them.
Although I guess we are starting to see with some more clarity what Tom Chilton meant when he said that Grom would be the final boss, but that it would all have a Burning Legion theme to it.
Yeah.
And I guess we are finally seeing, the sense I take away from it is that Grom is going to be under someone's power, or he's going to be brainwashed or something. As Gul'dan mentioned, breaking him.
Yeah, which, this is, kind of a story departure, in the whole thing. A little bit, not a departure, say, but maybe a curveball. And I know that with Pandaria, they got a lot of crap for saying that, there wasn't going to be a bad guy. That, there wasn't going to be a main villain. And that pissed off a lot of people until they finally came out and said, okay, well, Garrosh is going to be the main bad guy here. Well, maybe they took an alternate route with this. Maybe they went ahead and said the Iron Horde, but in fact it's actually going to be the Burning Legion.
That would be a clever misdirect, actually, yeah.
And maybe, again, I do have a tendency for giving Blizzard a little bit too much credit in the storyline department. But, it could simply be that this Iron Horde storyline has been lackluster for a reason. That reason being that, it was kind of a misdirect or setting the stage for, a Burning Legion finale.
I dig that. I definitely dig it, because I've never liked the character of Grom Hellscream. A lot of people, particularly Horde fans, love him. He's not even a character I like in terms of liking some Horde characters. I just don't care for the guy. And it's fun to see that the Iron Horde was his chance to be the main bad guy, and the Iron Horde kinda sucks. So this is what happens when you let Grom Hellscream run shit.
Yeah. And I think of course it'd be more interesting that way. And it would certainly fit, why the Iron Horde storyline has been kind of bleh, why they got, torn through so quickly. And, I don't know. Of course, I mean, the opposite thing is this could be setting up for patch 6.2, and that would also fit in with why, we seem to have offed so much of the Iron Horde so quickly. Again, if you're going for a 2-patch expansion, then, first half, basically the counter-offensive, then the second half going after the big guy.
Yeah.
And again, that would make sense too, if that's what they're going to do. Now what's going to suck is if they plan for this to be a 2-patch expansion and set up a storyline to accommodate that, and then they end up, not delivering, not going through with a 2-patch expansion, and then we end up with an even longer gap than we had for Cataclysm. Or, I'm sorry, between Pandaria and Draenor, yeah.
Well, they said they more or less said that was unacceptable on their end, and they're going to try to rectify it. They also said that we don't have to worry about troll raids. Someone actually asked them in an FAQ where there will be any troll raids on Draenor, and they said there are no trolls on Draenor, so there won't be any troll raids on Draenor.
Oh, thank fuck! I'm glad they realized their own geography.
So we, at the very least, we know that rumor the Zandalari would show up. That has nothing to it.
Well, that's good. And so then it's pretty safe that we can take it to the bank that, King Ren is not going to get offed either. At least not anytime soon.
I'd say I'd say that the patch notes at that point at least confirmed that leak was more or less inaccurate, considering that there has been nothing in the 6.1 patch notes, nothing in the storyline to confirm that we're going to the Ogre continent. Which was a big part of that leaked synopsis. That leaked synopsis also implied that Grom would be the one killing Varian. But here, this video shows us that Grom pretty much gets his shit ruined. So,
unless they do it as part of the I guess you could say the expansion finale kind of a thing. Though, I don't see them giving that kill to King Ren.
I mean to Grom.
No, I mean to King Ren. I don't see, when I say giving that kill to King Ren, I mean basically, I don't see them having King Ren being the obligatory main canon character that steps into the last second to intervene with the big bad of the expansion. Because God forbid our characters do something that's not a fucking poop quest. I see them, having Yrel or someone like that, or,
it's gonna be Khadgar.
Khadgar, Yrel, someone like that step in and do it.
Cossack even said that Khadgar is the Tyrion forging of this expansion.
Right, so, they would have Khadgar step in and do it or something like that, as opposed to King Ren. So if anyone's going to get waxed, it would be Khadgar. I would think. I would presume, at least. I mean, I could be wrong, but, whatever.
Alright, sounds good. I don't know. There's just really nothing going on here in terms, I'm interested to see this, but it's frustrating because there's storyline developments happening, right? On this, in this video, as part of this quest. This quest is obviously going to push the story along in very interesting directions, but there's just no content to back it up. Okay, you do the legendary quest to get to the cinematic and you do all of that. You can't go into Tanan Jungle. Alright? You can't go to the Ogre continent, because that's not in it. You can't do, I don't know. I really like this expansion. I love what they did questing-wise. This is easily the best expansion to quest in. It's not even close. But, it's damn, guys. As much as I love this expansion, you can't just give me what was you can't just give me what was in the box at launch, and then have the first patch be a few minor quality of life improvements and a few, legendary quest chain add-ons and expect me to be happy with it. I just get really bummed out over how limited this expansion has been. I mean, this patch has been to this expansion.
Well, I mean, you could say the expansion as a whole, because, I mean, beyond what's in the box at release, the expansion is kind of defined by the patches that come thereafter. So, I mean, 6.1 has been, like you said, a few, albeit needed, but, we don't need quality of life improvements, no matter how great they are, at the expense of actual content. And
there will be no patch 6.3 because reworking the flight paths killed our raid tier.
pretty much. And I'm glad to see that the story is progressing, and it does seem to be kind of pointing to a 2-patch expansion in that regard, I believe. With, I guess, 6.2 being to non-jungle and, the final raid, and then, whatever ends up happening storyline-wise from there.
The final raid will end up probably being at the alternate version of Hellfire Citadel. And, I actually kind of like that, because I like Hellfire Citadel from BC.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I fucking hated that.
I don't know, it was fun. It had kind of a very haunted, rundown fortress kind of vibe. I thought it was cool.
Hopefully it'll be redone to not look like ass. I think my big problem with it was...
Watch them just copy and paste the maps.
They'll reuse garrison assets. No, I think the reason why I didn't like Hellfire Citadel was that it was in Hellfire Peninsula. I think that was my problem with it, to be honest with you. And going through, I've ran those dungeons and those raids within that Citadel more than any other BC content, because with the way the leveling curve works on your alts, that's pretty much all you really need to do. You go through the Hellfire Peninsula content, you do the raids and the dungeons there, and then you can just do a few more dungeons throughout the rest of BC and you're good, but you don't do those nearly as much as you do the shit in Hellfire. So, because that's what I've seen the most of BC, and it's also the crappiest content of BC, I have a very low tolerance for it, and I came out of it with a big dislike of it. Now, the actual dungeons within, Hellfire Citadel, yes, they are better than Hellfire Peninsula. I will agree with you on that, but I find
funny about, Hellfire, your hatred for Hellfire Peninsula is that technically speaking, Tanan Jungle is Hellfire Peninsula.
Right, no, I know, but it's, before it looked like...
Before Gul'dan farted all over it?
Yeah, basically before copied and pasted assets from Blasted Lands were put all over it. At least for ground textures. So, and, I understand, I get it. That's what it looked like in Warcraft 3. I mean, I understand, I do get that. I just don't like it. It's the boring, bland aesthetic. The only cool thing about Hellfire Peninsula is the skyline.
Yeah.
And you can't go through an entire zone looking up at the sky because you'll miss the things that are killing you.
And then a space spore will,
Right, I was gonna say, the infinite armies of space spores that are running around everywhere. And the fucking buzzards while you're...
Or the Fell Reavers.
Well, I mean, if you're looking up at the sky, you'll see the fucking Fell Reaver. That's the one thing that you will see. But yeah, everyone in Hellfire has that moment of, why is the ground shaking? 10 seconds later, dead. Fuck. But yeah, so that
makes the Inception sound.
Yeah, that's the leaked, trailer for the cinematic I guess you could say cinematic, for 6.1. And I guess that about wraps up this episode.
And yeah, it does. But before we sign off, I just want to congratulate Gul'dan on finally getting someone in this timeline to drink the Fell Kool-Aid. He's had to persevere through a lot, and I always admire a man who's finally able to pull himself up from the bootstraps, even though I don't think he wears shoes, and accomplish his goals, like enslaving his entire race to an army of space demons.
'Cause you gotta have goals. Life's a journey, not a destination.
Indeed. But that will do it for episode 48, basically Geek Show. You can catch us on Stitcher and Spreaker, at basicallyasportshow.com, on iTunes and on YouTube. For Jack, this is Mike, signing off.
Good night, everybody.